What's shaking, YouTube? No chance here. I know I'm a little late to the party with comments on the new Commando Carbine, but I wanted to play it for a while and find out the most effective way to utilize it. My first thoughts as a huge medic player in Battlefield 5 were, this rifle kinda sucks. But as I upgraded it, I figured out this rifle is for flanking and a support medic. Now if DICE had put this medic gun in as a full-blown sniper, I don't think it would have been well balanced in this class. I think they did a great job with this rifle. It allows support medics to hold back a bit, revive, heal, take some shots at enemies, and then push and defend as needed with the team. It also allows a great dynamic within the meta class for flanking. If you're like me, you love to push from the front. You'll have to adjust your gameplay with this rifle because it's not like the others. This rifle should be used from mid to close range with an emphasis on using cover, as it does not have a high rate of fire, much like the slower shotguns. In today's video, we're going to break down the usage of this rifle, go through some tips on improving your gameplay, and even if you're not Shroud level, these techniques should still help the regular player. First, we're going to start with loadout. The funny thing about the Commando Carbine is it doesn't do anything well. It does a decent job at mid-range, it does an okay job at close range, but it's about how you use the rifle. But when talking about setup, what I've set it up for is a few key components that'll really help improve your gameplay and are a must for this rifle. When it comes to loadout, I've mostly chosen the right tree. I find quick aim helps quite a bit when doing close encounters. I'm using high velocity bullets because if you don't, you basically can't anything in mid-range, and the custom stock for the extra accuracy isn't that much more of an advantage. And then next I'm using the machine bolts because they're higher rate of fire. This is an extremely important component when using this rifle. And last, I'm using the enhanced grip, which is the close range. Without this, you're basically useless at close range, and it's much more effective than having the extra few rounds for the magazine. Next, we're going to talk about scopes here. I think the 2x is the ideal choice for this rifle. It has a much cleaner acquisition, and it can touch out and reach mid-ranges. The standard is my second choice, but I don't really love the optic. And then the 1.5 I find is a weird range without any advantage of sight picture. So I think the 2x is definitely the preferred scope for this rifle. Now that we've got a loadout set up, we're going to talk about the first of the 3 tips we're going to go through today. And this is picking weird flanks. Now you'll see this position is really unique because people may hear shots, but because of everything else, it's muffled. So by being lower and out of sight from everyone, they can hear it, but in their minds they don't see anything. And after a few seconds of a very small distraction, they just kind of go back to fighting, look away. This allows you to use the chaos of everything else going on in this round to basically hide what you're doing as a signature. Now you'll see here I can just keep picking guys off because of all the other sounds, noises, because of my weird position as a flank. No one's even noticing what's going on right now, and I'm able to get quite a few kills here. Here's another interesting flank. What I'm doing here is I'm basically masking my sound signature by going at a different level. Instead of staying in the window, I'm actually going to drop down to a ledge. I'm kind of hidden by the tree, and then I'm able to change my sound profile. This allows you to actually utilize your cover because people won't recognize where you are. Now I've done this in a few different situations on a bunch of different maps. It's really useful because it really distracts from people what they're doing, and you're allowed to pick off a ton of enemies without much interference. You'll see here in a few seconds, a guy's essentially going to think that I'm down there in the door, and he's actually going to start firing at me, not realizing I'm actually at a higher profile because he can't tell from the muffled sound where I actually am. So right there, he's firing at stuff that's lower because he thinks it's coming from there because I have a muffled signature. And I'm able to just keep picking guys off at this level. No one has a clue where I'm coming from. Another great example of picking different style flanks. Next, we're going to talk about picking cover. So this rifle, because it doesn't have a high rate of fire, you're going to need cover. So I've got a wall, I've got a barricade. I'm making sure that I'm not pushing out when I don't know what's there because I'm going to need cover. Now, I'm completely missing all my shots here. But even though I'm doing that, I'm able to retreat to cover, keep fighting, and essentially hold my line here. Now, if I don't have barricades or buildings, another good solution for this is using rocks. So even though I'm in an open area, I'm able to use these rocks here. Move around, keep cover, and basically act like a shotgun with this rifle. Now, the trick with this rifle is make sure you keep moving around and flanking. You never want to stand still. You always want to be moving left when they're going right. Keep moving around them. Last, we're going to talk about deadfalling. This is really effective with this rifle because it's silenced. You're going to see up here how I see a player coming in quickly. I have no cover, so I'm going to deadfall backwards. They're going to think that I go down, and they're not going to realize that I'm shooting them because it's a silenced weapon. And then the second player comes along, I'm able to get him as well. The last tip we're going to go over is using chaos. This might seem like a quite simple thing, but in reality, with the silenced weapon, it's extremely effective at getting a lot of kills if you're allowing the other sounds to distract the players. Here's a really good example of picking a good spot, kind of side on a flank, applying the cover techniques we've talked about before, and we're able to get a lot of kills. Through chaos and all the other shots firing right now, no one's realizing that we're actually doing the primary amount of killing. As my team pushes up here, they eventually get mostly killed off, and I'm actually holding a much larger force with the confusion of my shooting from the side, and able to stop about 10 or 12 players from pushing up with very little support by the end. Now you'll notice here, I'm rebuilding cover as it goes away. I'm making sure I pop in and out, take my time, and if you actually wait 2 or 3 seconds sometimes, they'll forget you're there, and because you're silent shooting, they don't really realize you're there again for another 5 to 6 seconds, which gives you a lot of time to open up, start hitting medics, start making sure you're taking out players that are trying to push. I hope you guys found those tips useful. Here's a good example of putting them all together. I'm going to use a berm to the left here for cover. When guys push me, I'm going to deadfall because I have no cover. And then as my team pushes up with me, I'm going to let them use the distraction technique, become the chaos. And while they're shooting at all the other players, I'm going to take them out with silenced weapons.
I'll fix you, soldier!
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Subs always help grow the channel. And check me out on Twitter.